News dump. Mario continues to flap that tanuki tail and soar at the box office. $60 million more and projected by next weekend, $1 billion.
Yeah, I saw the list, but I forgot to make note. Somewhere between the 6th and 8th best third weekend of all time. Out of any movie ever, Goo. Not just animated, not just kids. Out of any movie ever, it made a top 10 most money on the third weekend, which is kind of crazy.
Let me speak to this, though. If my son was 1 or 2 years older, I could see taking him every weekend just to kill 90 minutes.
And eat popcorn.
And
popcorn. I know you were a little high on it, and I was maybe a little low. Or I feel like I rated it kind of accurately, but this movie has staying power.
You're high. I did it right. You're the idiot.
I did it perfect. It's got staying power, and it's not going to be nearly the on the short list of movie of the year for me.
No,
but people are going to remember this year for that movie.
Absolutely, and we've already talked about this. It's just going to keep on making money nonstop.
Shut up.
And it really depends on when they put it on VOD / on some streamer, because they could keep this in the theater for another month.
What app has the Illumination movies?
Netflix usually does, but I feel like they're going to go heavy VOD at first.
They might. Sometimes they'll do a month VOD
because the kids' movies do very well on VOD.
Yeah, and by the way, Goo, Evil Dead Rise, good transition. Also out this past weekend, made $23.5 million. This was originally slated to be an HBO Max movie.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
A lot of cheddar for a rated R movie, a rated R horror movie. So that's trekking way higher than they had anticipated. And I'm not going to lie, the trailers have looked pretty good. I'll probably go and see this
doing
week.
Very well on Roddy T's. And when compared to last week, Renfield only made what, $8 million?
Something like that. Yeah, tied for 4th.
So people want straight horror. They don't want horror adjacent. They don't want the horror comedy stuff.
Well, even if you look back to, I think it was 2015, What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, not the show, the one that has inspired the show, Taika Waititi's movie. That is a fantastic movie, but it's in that weird horror comedy niche that does not play to the masses. It just doesn't.
Only Scary Movie does.
Yeah.
3, specifically Scary Movie 3.
And
stop it. But I also feel like if What We Do in the Shadows came out after Waititi kind of blew up, that would have done a little bit.
I agree. Yeah, no, for sure. But even then, like, what's blowing up? 20 million in the first weekend, which it's not over the moon.
Yeah.
Speaking of making money at the box office, this week we have, some would say, the most anticipated movie of the year. We've got the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 screening.
Yep. And early reviews, I've only heard some whispers, but people think it's very good.
That's good. I like to hear that. I believe this Saturday, the whatchamacallit, the embargo lifts. So by the end of this weekend, you'll have a good idea of how good this movie is.
News dump. Ryan Reynolds said recently somewhere, I don't even know where, but he said that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3 is a divergence from the X-Men films and is something completely new.
Did you ever see those Divergent movies, Gil?
I have seen bits and pieces of all of them. Maybe it's all the same movie. I don't know.
They're like the Hunger Games, except worse. Shailene Woodley, also a worse actress than Jennifer Lawrence.
Speaking of Jennifer Lawrence, I saw her at a park this past weekend.
Yeah, and you didn't give rave reviews, which was preposterous.
She looked like she did not want to be bothered.
I mean, that's fair. She was
Raffi almost stepped on her kid.
She has a kid?
A baby.
Oh, small one.
Yeah.
Smaller than Raffi.
And Raffi almost stomped on him.
Who's her boo thing?
I don't know.
She dated Nicholas Hoult for a long time.
Once again, couldn't ask her. She didn't want to be bothered.
Go, a new Wolverine. I'm okay with this because with Logan and the culmination of that Wolverine, that version of the character, that is a perfect and fitting ending to that character. So I'm perfectly fine to a little bit of a new take on Wolverine, still with Jackman, and especially considering we have already seen different versions of characters in the MCU. So just give us Jackman playing a little bit different of a Wolverine.
Also, it's the MCU now. It's not the same timeline. I believe that Jackman was either on a podcast or a radio show in the past year, And he's like, the MCU is doing a bunch of different stuff, just doing a bunch of different stuff right now. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, which I'm sure. Obviously, like Deadpool has made some money, and he likes Ryan Reynolds. I'm sure that was part of the selling point too to bring him back. Right? You can do a little bit of a different interpretation of the character now.
News up. Speaking of Deadpool 3, both Colossus and Vanessa will be back for the movie. Stefan Kapicic and Morena Baccarin.
Love Morena Baccarin. It's good to see they're back. Although we kind of got to get over the ghost girlfriend, right? Like, what's Morena Baccarin really doing?
Yeah, so I want to see how much they do with that time traveling. Obviously, Miss Minutes has been tweeting at Ryan Reynolds being like, you've been a bad boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
So do you think the plot
Yeah.
of 3 is to go back and save Morena Baccarin?
He already did in the post-credit, didn't he? Remember he took Cable's time traveling mechanism?
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure he already saved her. But what I would like to see is that if she's in this movie, actually use her.
Fair. You know what? Now that we're talking about time travel, I think it would be really funny if Deadpool 3's time travel or the end of 2 crosses over with Captain America going back and putting the stones back, and Deadpool just happens to be there.
That would be a funny tie-in. Obviously, you can do some stuff with Loki, some stuff with whatever they do with Kang. We don't know yet. But a lot that they can do right there.
Oh.
And then obviously in Deadpool 2 as well, they killed the girlfriend early. He mourned her for the movie. And then in Deadpool 1, it was to save the girlfriend.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
We sort of stumbled upon it there, and I don't want to really get deep into it.
I don't either.
Are we going to get a new Kang?
I feel like we're treading that way.
It's not good. It's not good. But we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
News down. Speaking of a character that we will not be getting back in the MCU, and that is Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. She was on a Goop podcast recently, I think over the weekend, or it came out over the weekend, and she said she's not coming back. The chapter is over.
What's Goop?
That is Gwyneth Paltrow's company.
Okay. All right. Number 2.
Yes.
I don't think anyone expected her to come back, quite honestly.
No.
She also had her time with a character that they like clearly put to an end at the end of Black Widow, her solo movie. You know, it was a good send off. And then in the post credit there, we see her sister in the graveyard looking at ScarJo's grave. So I don't know how you could bring her back and it makes sense.
Gwyneth Paltrow, who I believe was doing the interview, maybe? I don't know. But she said, yeah, I'll come back.
Do you like Gwyneth Paltrow?
I think I do. I have
think
no
I
issue
do
with her.
too.
I got no issue with her.
I'm same. Agree to agree.
But Gwyneth Paltrow said, I'm not dead. So yeah, whatever. And she could have met her character. She could have met her. I don't know.
Well, I think there is an avenue for Paltrow to play a supporting role. I don't want her to be prominently featured.
And I mean, she could pop up, say, in Riri Williams' show and be like, hey, Tony Stark's going to be your AI because we need to have Robert Downey Jr. here, but we can pay him voiceover work if he's just doing that.
Right. He just has to show up to the studio for a couple of days.
News down. Back, Infinity War has itself a deleted scene that's roughly 40 minutes long, and it is Thanos taking the Power Stone.
Yeah, if you all recall, the opening of Infinity War is Thanos on Thor's ship, already having the Power Stone and absolutely kicking the shit out of the Hulk, Loki, and Thor.
And Heimdall.
Yeah, that's right. I remember thinking back to that was a smart move because we did not need to see how he got all 6. We could sort of assume that he was going to have an easy time getting 1 or 2 of them. A 40-minute run up to what we eventually got. I don't know if that would have been that good. As much as I love that era of the MCU, I don't think it makes Infinity War better because I think Infinity War is the #1 movie in the MCU. And Infinity War was one of the greatest theater experiences I've ever had. And it's already 2.5 hours long. I don't think we need another 40.
Would you watch that now?
I would watch it, sure, if they put it like out on Disney Plus or whatever, but I don't think they're ever going to spend the money to finish.
No, because they haven't done any of the animation for it.
Right. And if
they filmed it and they haven't done any of the CGI.
I have the Infinity War Steelbook and they have some deleted scenes on there. Cool. And anything that didn't get too close to final production, they don't render anything. So they all look terrible.
I wouldn't mind seeing it unrendered and just like Josh Brolin with like the big tennis ball on his
No,
head.
like a storyboard version of it, I'm okay with too. I definitely would not
Oh,
mind
you know what they
seeing
should
some version
do?
of it.
And this would be cheaper. Is just do like an animated short, like a half an hour thing, and put it on Disney Plus.
Would love that. Would love
But
that.
don't do it in the same animation that you do What If in.
Well, I'm still sick. There's still a whole segment of the internet that thinks What If is canon, and number one, it's not. They've definitely already pulled from that in some ideas and some characters, but what takes place in What If is not canon. So stop regarding it as part of the MCU, please.
I hate What If so much. What If felt like the biggest chore of a show I've ever had to watch.
It was 95% shit, 5% awesome.
What If might be the first thing that really soured me on Marvel.
Yeah, but you were also very in on it, so much so that you created a new podcast for it.
It was called What If. We talk about What If, Marvel's What If, the What If podcast. Yeah. Some
are saying you're the reason for Marvel failing.
I don't disagree. It's people like me, really. News dump. Godzilla X Khan. We got a little teaser there of what seems like an orangutan sitting on a throne. That might be from the Jungle Book, though. I don't know. And then there's a bunch of skulls, and then you see Godzilla and Kong's skull. And the synopsis here is that these two brethren, Kong and Godzilla, need to come together to destroy this new threat.
We're in a tough zone here that the last movie wasn't bad enough for them to stop making these movies.
It actually made some money in the pandemic time, which is crazy.
It made a good amount of money, and it was like pretty watchable.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna get like at least 2 more of these, and I don't need these at all.
They were friends at the end of the last movie, right?
Yeah, and that's sort of an issue as well. I don't know what they're supposed to be going forward. Are they frenemies? Are they working together on the same squad? Are they now enemies again? I do not understand it.
Godzilla is a lady, correct?
I don't know if she
I don't know.
if he or
Someone's
she
gonna have to help us
identifies as
out.
anything.
Yeah.
They're a they.
Well, I'm asking because, what if these
Like
two do in fact
reproduce?
come together
Oh.
to
A
destroy
Kongzilla.
this orangutan?
Oh, I thought you meant sex.
Well, no, like sex, and then you create a super monster that
A Kongzilla.
A Kongzilla.
What would the Kongzilla look like in your eyes?
That's a great question because we've always had the fallback of like when Miss Piggy and Kermit, when they have kids, it's always either pigs or frogs, never the combination.
Right. I imagine, see, if Godzilla had wings, the image would be way cooler. I picture more of a monkey body, but with a Godzilla tail and maybe a Godzilla head, or at least fire-breathing things, but moves like Kong does.
Right, but what if they could create the baby like you can make a Mario Kart in Mario Kart where you're like
Sure.
doing like the Daggle thing there.
Yeah, selecting all your shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What would you choose? What are the best?
Godzilla tail.
Okay.
I would do Godzilla head, but then I agree, give me the big old monkey arms.
I
Those
need the monkey body more so than the Godzilla body. But again, all this looks way better if somehow we could get wings in the mix.
Hey, Mac and Goobers, get some crayons out and draw us what you think.
We will retweet that.
King Kong and Godzilla's.
You would call it Kongzilla, though, right?
Oh, you'd call it Kongzilla, but get your crayons out and draw this. Have your children draw it. See what they do.
Describe to them what you're looking for.
News dump. Jedi Survivor drops at the end of this week.
Yep. So this is the second installment in the Jedi PS4, PS5 games. Jedi, I forget the name of the first one. It was a good game. It just got really, really repetitive at the end. Cal Kestis, the Jedi, the main character in this story, is something that a lot of fans are now wanting to see adapted into live action somehow. And I feel like because of the time and effort they've put into these video games, you might see it. And this character is also operating during Darth Vader times. Ooh. So it's another excuse for them to get some more Darth Vader shit in there. I probably won't buy this game, but I'm interested to see how well it does.
I've been getting back on the PS5 recently. I created my guy in the show.
Yeah, how'd that go? Tell the people.
You saw my photos. I did the face render thing, and I'm like, wait a second, do I have wonky eyes?
I'll tell you, I don't know what it is about the face rendering for PS5, but it does not like your face.
It gave me big old horse teeth. And then my eyelids are like, one of them is like 75% closed.
You looked really bad. You looked like
looked
you had
really,
been
really bad.
struggling with addiction for 10 years.
I used the photo. I had to. I mean, what am I going to do? Spend 3 hours changing my face?
I don't know.
But news dump. Mac, there is a Twilight series in the works by Lionsgate, and it is not picked up by any streaming service yet.
So I think we're now officially at that point where all the late 2000s, early 10 stuff are going to get a lot of this. And because, you know, Potter got picked up. So this was like one of those natural next things.
Divergent next.
Potter is as popular as Twilight was. That felt like more like a time and place thing. Like late 2000s was so vampire heavy, and Potter seems more timeless and has obviously a broader universe they can play with. The Twilight stuff, I just don't see them ever really crushing it.
Unless they go a completely different route and go more with like the crazy vampires that show up and play baseball.
If they made it CW quality, people would watch it.
It's already kind of CW quality.
I know, but I feel like they're shooting for a higher than that, and it doesn't need that.
Because you can't even go True Blood style because there's already True Blood.
And there was already Vampire Diaries. Like, I'm telling you, this one's going to miss the mark. This has an audience of no one.
News dump.